Good morning, folks. We have a terrific show for you today with an amazing guest. His time is super valuable, so we're going to jump right into it. Make sure you got a cup of coffee ready to go. Make sure you get your pen and paper. Throw those questions out. This Major Richard Ojeda Ret he's an outstanding source for information, not just 20 plus years in the Army, not just he served in the in government. He was a state senator from West Virginia. We're going to talk to him about West Virginia Democratic politics. We're going to talk to him, get his unique view on what we've seen out of Trump's horrendous comments towards General Milley and General Milley's outstanding response to it. But without further ado, not to waste any more
That's awesome, man. Hold on. I can't hear you.
That was me.
Okay.
What's going on, man? When I play that. It's great to see you, man. It is great to see you, Major. It really is. I mean, I am in so much trouble. I am in so much trouble right now, right? Yeah. You had a big day yesterday, man, and I didn't know it. Mrs. Texas Paul, we're sitting there talking. She's a fan of yours. She follows you on Facebook. And we were talking about this whole Trump Milley thing, and she's like, you need to get Richard Ojeda on there. He'll tell you, what's what. Yeah. And I'm like, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. So I'm texting you this, that, and the other. You got the first text. And we're talking later on, and I told her, hey, I think Richard Ojeda is going to be on the show. And she's like, when? It's Sunday. She's like, his daughter's getting married. What are you doing?
I'll tell you right now. We had the wedding on the property yesterday. We didn't hit the rack until after 3 o'clock in the morning. But it's okay though. I love doing this stuff, and I got me enough sleep, so I'm good to go. And I'm really glad to be on here, man. It was really, I really got excited when I saw, Texas Paul. Look, that guy's awesome. So it's great, man.
Yeah, man. I got to tell you, the audience here, we've got an international, they're filing in now. It'll be 1,500 people or so before we're done, but we've got a great audience here. It is a lot of international people. You'll see a lot of people from Europe, a lot of people from Northern Europe, a lot of people. So Canada, I am really looking forward for them to get your perspective on things. I have never served. I never have.
You're serving now, brother. You're serving now. Well, what you're doing right now maybe is just as important as anybody picking up a rifle and manning a post, man. That's a fact.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I really do. But I never make any bones about that. So, but I am a history nut. And, so much of our history comes from our military. It just does. Military engagements, military things are going on. I have always had an affection for the military and folks that serve, because I understand with so many people that are military in my family. I understand the sheer knowledge that they drill into you. You know what I mean? Especially when you start getting into the officer corps, the folks that really, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, the education level for a United States Army officer, regardless whether it's Navy, Army, Air Force, Marines, doesn't matter. Coast Guard, Space Force, doesn't matter. There is a lot of education that is required. And at the point where it's also that you are required to obtain master's degrees before you're ever going to be eligible to compete for certain positions in the military. And that's why, when I watch Donald Trump tweet things about General Milley and should be, assassinated. Just absolutely unacceptable. Here's a man who has spent 40 years of his life. And I'm going to tell you, yesterday when I was watching, he was giving a speech, and I all I could do was look at his uniform, and in the military, if you're not in the military, you look at somebody's uniform and you think, it's like fruit salad on their chest. I know what that means. So, I'm looking at that. I'm like, man, this guy's a very accomplished, and I've known that for a while with General Milley. You don't get to, be elevated to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff unless you are really solid. And I will tell you right now, the new guy that's replacing him, the Air Force General Brown, is solid. But, it's just the sacrifice these people go through. His right sleeve, I'm pretty sure it's, look at it right. But I don't think it's his left sleeve. It's got combat hash stripes. And those are for 6 months in combat. And he's got them all the way up his damn arm. And, he has spent a lot of time. And when you're talking about sacrifice of your family, when you're a general officer, you're not exactly going home every 6 months. You're literally staying in combat for like 4 or 5 years, and you get to see your family when you go home for a 5-day trip to Washington, D.C., where you're briefing Congress and you're working through it all. I look and I see the time and the things that, General Petraeus did. It's inspiring. But it also is really, really sickening when you have somebody who's never picked up a rifle and manned a post, a person who claimed bone spurs, a person who daggone said that we were suckers and losers, a person who said to General Milley after a veteran who was wounded severely in combat, saying, God bless America, and told him after Donald Trump walked over and made it a spectacle of him hugging the guy in the wheelchair. Then
I got a video of that. Let me pull that up real quick. I've got a video of that exact engagement. That just sent me,
sickens me
through the roof. I mean, watch the fakeness, because we know after this what he said.
Yep.
Don't ever bring this guy out in public again. Don't ever bring an injured person.
Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah.
Guys,
watch the insincerity here.
Captain Luis Avila, a U.S. soldier, severely wounded by an IED explosion December 2011 in Afghanistan.
According to a stunning new profile in The Atlantic, following wounded Army Captain Luis Avila's rendition of God Bless America, Trump walked over to congratulate and embrace him. But moments after that, the former president told Chairman Milley, quote, "Why do you bring people like that here? No one wants to see that. The wounded. Never let."
Just the insincerity there, man. I mean, he's all fake and, oh, how wonderful this, and immediately turns around and reams out Milley and says, don't ever bring that guy here again. Yeah. That nobody wants to look at that guy. I mean, that's just gross, man.
Yeah. Can you imagine how he feels, how that soldier feels, knowing that that's exactly how Donald Trump really felt?
That's the thing. They don't say in this. That's what really pisses me off about the corporate media, Major. I'm sorry. I apologize for interrupting.
You did, bro.
They don't say in this that he said that within earshot of Captain Avila. Captain Avila's family heard him say that. I mean, just
you see Donald Trump running up and giving the come on, get in here to the wife, and just it's just such a fake person. And let me tell you a little something. Donald Trump doesn't like people that he can't be like, and he attacks people like that the most. It amazes me when I hear people in the military and people that are retired talking about Donald Trump, and I'm thinking to myself, what type of shitty leadership did you have? Can I say that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Okay. What kind of shitty leadership were you subjected to where that is the one that you go, wow. I mean, from the moment that he took the not gavel, but the way he took the mantle of leadership, I mean, it was nothing but a train wreck every day, over and over and over again. And, what bothers me is we have such a horrific problem with racism in this country. And I really believe that a lot of Donald Trump supporters only support him because he hates the people that they hate. And they're willing to lose everything as long as they know they can feel better than that group over there.
There were some people. I will say there were some people back in 2016 when he first showed up on the scene. The Clintons had been around for a very, very long time. And there were some people that were just like, we're doing something different.
I was that guy. I was that way. I was like, damn, man. I mean, how we have a father and a son who become the president, the Bushes. And, my thought was when I saw the Bushes, I thought to myself, they tell us if you grow up, drink your milk and be honest with your parents and work hard in school, you too can become president. And then I was like, no, that's not true. It's if you are from a family that is as wealthy and powerful as the Bushes, you and somebody in your family could be president. And then you have a husband and a wife team doing it, and I was like, that's garbage, man. I mean, I'm sick and tired of people that it just seems like everybody wants to wield on to power. But good Lord, today, right now, our country would be so much better off if it would have been Hillary Clinton for 4 years. I believe that she could have done 1,000 times. Anybody who could have accomplished anything could have done more than Donald Trump.
Well, I'm actually agreeing with you about the racism because, like I said, there was a fraction of people that believe that. Just like, wait, enough of the legacy presidencies, and let's be honest, most folks just aren't into politics. They just don't follow the ins and outs and this, that, and the other. And Trump was once a Democrat. He was a Democrat before he couldn't figure it out. He couldn't sell his BS to us. Then he became a Republican and they were like, okay,
Yep.
So I get it. I get it. There are some people I give a pass, but you are absolutely right about the racism. You are absolutely right about the racism. There was a reason there were Nazi rallies where they were doing Sig Hail to Trump, man.
They loved it.
I mean,
loved it.
They did. And they still do. They still do.
And what's really messed up to me is that I see these groups, Latinos for Trump, Hispanics for Trump. Donald Trump was recently recorded where he was saying, when I get back into office, we're going to have the largest deportation that's ever happened in America. Do those Latino and Hispanic for Trumps not realize he's talking about them? Understand that Donald Trump and Stephen Miller had the conversation of actually utilizing UAVs to sink boats out in the water that was full of immigrants trying to get to America. We've got jackaloons down there right now in Texas putting barbed wire, razor wire in the water.
That's disgusting, man. It is
disgusting. And anybody that accepts that, anybody that says that's acceptable is absolute trash too. And that's why it's the racism in this country. And I'm going to tell you this, and I hate to say this because I come from Southern West Virginia, and I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of racism in Southern West Virginia, and it bothers me now because
I didn't know that.
Let me tell you something. I'll tell you how bad it is. When I was a kid, and I'm not talking about 5 years old, I'm talking about, junior high, early high school years. There was a place that we had in my hometown called Mud Fork, and there was a bridge, like a railroad bridge that went over. On that railroad bridge was a huge sign that said, "Welcome to Mud Fork, home of the white man." And it had said no, and it had the N-word allowed. And, I think back at that time when that sign was there, and then I realized, what the hell was the county commission doing? Why did the county commission step up and say, that's got to go, point blank? Because it was acceptable, because people were racist. And, I tell you, we had a place called Rossmore that had 88 registered voters in Rossmore. And Rossmore, every single election, maybe one person would crawl out of their bed and walk down to the Monaville grade school and cast their vote. And then all of a sudden, this guy come on board that hated everybody, that wasn't exactly pasty white like he was. and everybody who wasn't bowing down to the accomplishments that Donald Trump made. And all of a sudden, 88 of those registered voters got their butts up and they went to vote for Donald Trump. And that's the problem that we're in right now, is we've got a lot of people that have refused to look at the truth, refused to change the channel from these, Fox News, they got sued big time, lost a lot of money, but they're still doing exactly what they did that got them sued. Oh,
yeah, they are. And
there's no reason why we should not be removing them, because they are a poison to the poorly educated. And I'm going to say it, I don't care. The poorly educated, you got to be poorly educated to look at Donald Trump right now and go, he's the one, because that tells me you don't read, you don't research, you don't do it. I mean, and it's so easy today. This little phone right here has more information in it than our forefathers had across the globe to help them. And now,
the Russians are working to poison that too, man.
Absolutely.
They're working really hard.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, the Saudis are too. The Saudis are too. The Saudis are not our friends. I mean, we're kind of those, I don't know, I wouldn't call them allies, but I wouldn't call them, I don't know where they, be honest with you, I don't know how to classify them, because at every turn they're doing crap like, I don't know, funding Elon Musk buying Twitter and turning that into a hellhole for Russian propaganda.
And destroying Yemen. And then we're talking about open town square bombings, schools, hospitals, housing areas, and they're using ammunition and weapons that we send them. To me, it's just like, why is it, why do we always have to go this route? And then of course, you're going to sit and watch these people waste our time screaming about Hunter Biden and not saying a thing. I mean, the irony in all of this. You're not going to do nothing about Jared Kushner that's received a $2 billion account. Yeah.
A non-money manager gets handed $2 billion from the Saudi, their government fund. Why? He's not a money manager. I mean, why did they give him $2 million? But
I'm going to tell you right now, he helped lure Jamal Khashoggi into that daggone embassy where they were able to kill him, cut him up, and get him out. And I'm going to tell you that if we do, and I hope that we do, if we do have an investigation into anybody, I hope it's Jared Kushner and Ivanka, because you know what? It's another thing too. A lot of people don't realize when you hear about Ivanka and the patents that she received from China. You could say, well, they're business people. Well, do you know what the patents were? Because the patents were on body bags. The patents were on caskets, funeral caskets. Now, what were we going through during that time? It was COVID. That's right. People were dying all over the globe, and they were getting patents in caskets and body bags.
And voting machines.
Voting machines. Yeah. Voting machines.
What does Ivanka Trump have to do with frickin' voting machines, man?
Yeah, absolutely. This is, you can see it. And I'm going to tell you the good thing about this, because, sometimes they are getting their comeuppance, and I think there's a lot more that's coming around the corner. And, you're from Texas, so you know me, usually that involves a good ass whooping. But, I'm going to tell you, Ivanka Trump has always wanted to be the center of attention, to be looked at like she was the smartest one in the room. And we saw that when she went in place of her father to one of the big G7 events. And, she got caught trying to, interject herself in with all these other people. And all those other people were like, who the hell is this girl? But, she has always also wanted to be a major player in the fashion industry. And the greatest part about this and karma is that now she's no longer invited to any type of fashion. They don't want her there. She gets booed if she shows up. And I think it's, she deserves every bit of it, every single bit of it.
And you talk about karma. You talk about karma. I mean, really, we're going to start off with Milley. I got a couple things I want to get your opinion on. I really do. So I hope you can stick with me.
I'm with you.
But starting with Milley gets to testify. He's on the witness list in the January 6th trial over the insurrection. and Trump is sitting there trash. This man should be killed, and this idea, and he's on the freaking witness list.
Yeah, but you understand that that's also Trump's. That's his plan. Trump knows that General Milley was right there close to him and is going to expose him on everything. So Donald Trump is now trying to crucify him and make him, irrelevant, and said, oh, he wasn't that smart. He wasn't with me everywhere. I barely use him. That's what he's going to do now.
But tell me that doesn't just show Trump's immense stupidity to piss on a witness that is going to testify at your trial. I mean, how stupid do you have to be? If I was going to get in trouble with a witness it'd be from sending them donuts, man. Everybody loves donuts,
Yeah, let me tell you. I will tell you that if you've never ever been around general officers, they're different. They're a different breed. Not only are they able to go years and years and just stay on this grind, they are the most intelligent people that we have in our country. Let me tell you something. When I tell you, most of them are graduates of West Point. Okay. And let me just tell you that West Point is literally in one of the top 3 colleges in the country. And you get $1 million education when you go to West Point. And I'm going to tell you that I can't tell you how many people that I know that are West Point graduates that also went and got their master's degrees at Stanford, at Yale, at Harvard. I got one buddy that went through Harvard Law School, and he was with me. We were lieutenants together. These are people. General Milley has a catalog of accomplishments that people like Donald Trump can't even begin to fathom. And that's the thing, is this guy knows everything. He picks up everything. He doesn't forget. They have photographic memories. I'm telling you, they literally have photographic memories. They look at these big slideshows that we do, and they're like, got it. And they got it. So I tell you what, Donald Trump better be scared shitless of this guy. What
amazing. One of my first mentors, like I said, I never served. I don't make any pretensions, but one of my first mentors, I was a clerk working for an insurance company down in Texas. And one of the executives there was a retired General Bishop. And for some reason, he took me under his wing. The difference, I'm dealing with managers and stuff, and their hair's on fire all the time and they're freaking out. This guy was like a swan on a lake, man. Just grace and freaking motion. And he didn't stress about anything. He didn't. He was the guy. He was the guy that talked the least. He would sit and when he did speak, it was direct. It was, there was no questioning. He'd walk into a room, the room would stop. I mean, there was just that. So I know what you're saying. And talking about General Milley for a second, BA from Princeton, master's from Columbia in International Affairs, master's from the Naval War College in National Security and Strategic Studies. That's before he puts a uniform on, man. That is before he done. Oh, by the way, how do you feel about the pinks and greens coming back?
I think they look good. I actually think they look pretty good. I mean, but I'll be honest with you. I think that the blues were the best. I like the dress blue uniform, and I know that we used the dress blue uniform because we wanted to compete with the Marine Corps. I think
that's a hard uniform to compete with.
You're not going to compete with the Marine uniform, but I think we do have like most of the schools that you can go to when you're a Marine are actually in the Army. So in terms of the badges and schools and stuff, we have more opportunities in the Army. Shoot, man. I mean, I think it looks really good.
That's why you see a lot of Marines with the Green Beret badge on, right? Because they'll train at the same facility as like their jump school. They'll train next to the Green Beret.
No, I got that backwards. Not Green Beret. They go to jump school with us. They go to the same course at Fort Benning, Georgia. They go there. They go to Air Assault School, the U.S. Army Air Assault School, and we've got that in multiple places.
Is it the Army Airborne? Like I said, I never started. I don't know, man. That's why I'm asking you. But there's some badge that they pick up that everybody always questions. Dumbasses that aren't in the military always question, because when they graduate that jump school, they get a badge or a bar. Yes, and everybody's like, that's an Army school.
Yes.
Stolen valor.
No,
and it's like, no, dumbass, that's where they train.
Yeah, it's not. When they graduate, now I'm a master rated parachuter, so I jumped out of planes for over 20 years. But this is a master rated parachutist badge. So if you take that reef and that star off, and that's all you have right there, that is the basic airborne wings. That's what they look like when you graduate from airborne school. Marines go through our U.S. Army Airborne School, and they get their 5th jump. Now, they wear this until they get, I think it's like 4 more jumps. Like, I think it's like 9 jumps or 12 jumps, something like that. And then they get the gold Marine jump wings. But when they graduate from jump school, they're wearing U.S. Army Airborne wings. And I mean, I'm going to tell you, they Marines are great. I love Marines, man. I wish that we would give Marines everything that we give everybody else. Because let me tell you something. I can remember Fallujah, watching a squad of guys with long rifles, which are not as good to be able to get around corners and stuff like that. But they had one set of NVGs for a squad. Hell, every one of my soldiers had NVGs, and I was like, if we give them everything that we have, they're going to really, really do a lot of work with it.
Yeah, I tell you, you hit it on the head. A lot of people don't realize the Marines kind of suck hind tit when it comes to funding too, man. Their facilities are not nearly that. But anyway, I don't want to go off track. Milley's commands: First Battalion, 506th Infantry, 2nd Infantry Division in South Korea, 2nd Brigade, 10th Mountain Division, Deputy Commander of the 101st Airborne, 3rd Armored Corps in Fort Cavazos. I want to ask you about something. I'm going to sidetrack again. Sorry, man. Okay. Hard left turn here.
I'm with you, brother. As long as you.
When they renamed Fort Hood, I was dying. I mean, everybody I could contact, everybody I knew in government, I was like, you got to name it Fort Joshua Chamberlain. You just got to name it Fort Joshua Chamberlain. I'm a history nut. I love Gettysburg. Going out, and I don't mean the monuments and this, that, and the other that people go take pictures with. I'm talking, if you actually look, because I think Meade was brilliant. I mean, he had that fish hook front line. It was 600 yards, longest point from Indian on that line. Lee, who everybody calls a genius, had a line that was 6 miles long. You know what I mean? Chamberlain was the first day, Lieutenant Colonel. His forces are dead center. Gets the first attack. They hold out till Meade can form up. Finally gets relieved, moved over to the left flank where everything's supposed to be quiet on Little Round Top.
Yep.
John Bell Hood shows up. And I hate that guy. I don't know why he got it. That guy had one attack. He was from the General Lee School of Commanding. Attack all the time, attack. And if you stand on Little Round Top and you look down in Devil's Den, there's one little wall on the Confederate side that it was too close for even the sharpshooters to get behind. He literally just sent his men to die. Chamberlain's commander, because it was supposed to be quiet, had gone to meet with Meade. So Chamberlain's in charge, man, standing on Little Round Top.
Yeah.
Hood is just throwing wave after wave after wave. I mean, they ran out of ammunition. They shot so many of these guys. You know what I mean? So he orders fixed bayonets.
Yep.
And they're getting ready to charge, and he's got this froggy lieutenant that jumps up and yells, "Charge!" and takes off. The funny part about this story and why I love this guy so much is when they were in day one, a mini ball ricocheted off a rock, and they don't know if it was the mini ball that tore the top of his foot off or the rock that went through his boot. So you've got Chamberlain standing there with his sword in his hand and his pistol in the other, with a big old wrapped up white foot, chasing this lieutenant hopping across the field with a sword in his hand.
Yeah.
And his men are charging across. And it was supposed to be so crazy that one of the Confederate soldiers actually wrote in his diary that he had him in his sights. and he couldn't pull the trigger because here comes old, Joshua Chamberlain just across the field. When you stand there and see it, it's amazing. But anyway, I didn't mean to.
Well, that was Yeah, that was one of the best parts of there was a movie. What was the movie? It was a movie about Gettysburg, I think. Was it Gettysburg? Yeah, that was one of the best parts of the whole movie was Chamberlain, But I mean, there's a lot of people out there that, I'm glad that we swapped a lot of these names out. I love Fort Bragg. To me, it's Fort Bragg. I was stationed at Fort Bragg. But I don't have a problem at all with them naming it Fort Liberty. I don't. It doesn't bother me. But I will tell you that there's so many people out there. I don't know if you know who Alvin Cash was. He was an African American who received the Silver Star after he literally was engulfed in flames and climbed in and out of a 113, an armored personnel carrier, and he evacuated everyone from his squad. Now, he died, I think it was about 3 days later. I mean, like 95% of his body was covered in the worst burns you could get. And it just seemed like forever that, when we heard about that, we were like, Silver Star is a huge honor. But when you hear about what he did, you're like, wow. And it was wonderful that, President Biden re-looked at all those things and then made the decision and then basically decided to give him the Congressional Medal of Honor. He's another one that I absolutely am there's so many people. It was I hate to say it, Benavidez. I think he was from Texas. I mean, the toughest guy probably to exist. We're talking about a guy that literally was being placed in a body bag because they thought he was dead, and he just spit blood on everybody, and it was, he's alive,
It literally, that's a true story, folks. That is a true story. Sergeant Benavidez charged back and forth to save his men so many times. He was so injured, he could not speak. They thought he was dead. They were zipping him up in a body bag, and he knew if they zipped him up, he was done. So he grabbed a big mouthful of blood and spit on the doctor to let him know he was still alive, man. There's so many people out there. I was never, look, I'm born in Texas, and when you're a young man, you get taught all this stupid mythology, the lost, that lost cause theory and all that other crap. And then you grow up and you actually learn some real history, and you learn it's a bunch of crap. So I've never understood why we allowed these Confederate, Braxton Bragg was not a great guy. He really wasn't. John Bell Hood was a lousy general. He was a lousy general. He really was. I mean,
Fort Bragg, General Bragg wasn't exactly a barn burner, I mean, that's how it was, and I'll tell you something that always bothers me, and I'm really glad that you have me on here, is, I served with a lot of people from Texas. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Texas, man, they'll fist fight you at your mama's wedding. I mean, they don't care if you piss off. I'll be honest with you. I've always loved serving with Texas because they're always gonna daggone push themselves. They're always gonna push other people. They talk shit freaking great. But I'm like, what the hell? How can we have so many people, in Texas that supports Governor Abbott, Donald Trump? I'm looking at these leaders in Texas. Ted Cruz. How can you vote for Ted Cruz? That guy snuck off to Cancun when it was cold in Texas and then blamed it on his daughter. I mean, how can this guy continue to stay in office? Ted Cruz is garbage. I mean, he is true blue, real garbage. I actually know somebody that is very close to somebody that is very close to him. The guy is absolutely the biggest fake that you can imagine, and he wants to talk all this garbage. That guy,
I can tell you how it happened.
Out of a paper bag.
I can tell you it happened, and you're probably the same thing in West Virginia, my friend.
Yeah,
we did it to ourselves. We did. We wanted to do that high road thing, and we lost track of the fact that people follow strength. And if you have one guy that looks at you and says, "You're a sorry son of a bitch," and you just stand there, well, let's talk about my policies. Everybody that's watching that exchange, you just lost them. you know, and the Democratic Party for decades, I don't care who, I'm a ride or die Democrat. And if you can't clean up your own backyard first, hey, but that is exactly it. We did not get into these culture wars. We didn't. And here in the state of Texas, Democrat was a dirty word for a really long time, you know, and that's where I got my start. You know, we both started out on TikTok, man. And just the number of people when I got to TikTok that would just run their damn mouths and then freak the hell out when they came right back at them, you know, and people were like, we can say that? Hell yeah, we can say that. Yeah. I mean, we've got to say it. We've got to get back in this fight.
Well, that's it. We are all in this fight, and everybody that you have, you know, in this chat log, you know, every one of them, you know, the days of you just going to the polls and casting your vote and feeling like you've done your civic duty. No, it's done. That's not it. You got to be making phone calls. You got to make sure you got to be giving your daggone azimuth check to your members of your family. And on election day, you need to be bringing everybody that you know to the polls. If you got a 4-seater and you're in there by yourself, you're daggone wrong. You better be getting family members to get to the polls and cast those votes, you know, and participate. You know, it amazes me, you know, you and I now, because we do so much stuff with social media, this is what we do. We literally every single day spend hours in front of, you know, the computer, reading articles, watching interviews, and seeing these things. But I mean, everybody needs to. I tell people, I say, look, dedicate yourself every day to read 5 articles. 5 articles. You know, I don't care what it is, but dedicate yourself to read 5 articles, because that's going to inform you, and eventually it's going to start to catch on. And you know what? You will start to recognize some of these things. You know, I look at Donald Trump right now and I see nothing but a person that's trying to hold on to power. And I see people supporting him that know that as long as he's in power, that they're going to be able to be, you know, their cruel selves. And we got to fight that. And this guy's awesome.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. I preach it every day, brother, and I'm glad to hear you say it.
Now, look,
I've got this video.
Texas. Look, I want you to look. See right there next to his, you see the bottom of his arm. You see those little gold? Those are hash. Every one of those is 6 months in combat. That he's got like 15 of them. Yeah.
I mean, it just amazes me. And I'm going to give you a confession after this. Let me play this video, and I'm going to confess something to you.
To a country.
Let me make it full size.
We don't take an oath to a tribe.
Doggone it. Hold on. There we go.
To a country. We don't take an oath to a tribe. We don't take an oath to a religion. We don't take an oath to a king or a queen or to a tyrant or a dictator. And we don't take an oath to a wannabe dictator. We don't take an oath to an individual. We take an oath to the Constitution, and we take an oath to the idea that is America, and we're willing to die to protect it. Every soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, Guardian, and Coast Guardsman, each of us commits our very life to protect and defend that document, regardless of personal price. To a country. We don't take an oath to a tribe. We don't take an oath to a religion. We don't take.
You know, I mean, he just nails it there, man. A wannabe dictator. You know,
and you know who he was talking about too. Yeah.
Yep. I've got to confess something here. I really do. As a civilian, I looked at John Kelly. I looked at General Mattis. I looked at General Milley. And I saw them around Trump, and I took it as an endorsement and support of Trump. I'm like, why would you work for a guy like that if you didn't agree with what he was doing? And it just had this shitty point of view. And I was hard, especially Mattis. I was hard on Mattis. I'm like, they call him Mad Dog Mattis. I call him Lapdog Mattis. I mean, I ran my mouth like a dumbass. I really did. But we're hearing the revelations coming out post-Trump, and knowing, like, when Lafayette Square, so many of us, when Mark Milley walked across Lafayette Square with Trump, took that as an endorsement, did not realize how much of a freaking set of guardrails Milley was.
Yeah. Well, you know, Milley, General Mattis has come out and said that basically, you know, and once again, I want you to also understand the level of reading. You know, I'm telling you, these people go through not books like this on leadership. They read these things. I mean, it's just who they are. General Mattis is one of the most well-read people that's ever, you know, been in the position that he was in. And I will tell you that, you know, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff is an advisor to the United States, you know, the United States president. He's the one that tells the president what you can do legally, what you can do that's, you know, what you can't do, things like that. How to utilize the force. You know, you don't know that all the presidents coming in is going to have any military experience whatsoever. And that's why it's important to have a strong, you know, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff to be able to really keep them on point. Donald Trump doesn't listen. Donald Trump doesn't read. I mean, General Mattis finally said, I can't take it anymore. But General Mattis is going to be respectful.
He almost resigned.
Yeah, and he was very respectful of Donald Trump, even though behind the scenes he was literally pulling his hair out. Was because, you know, you got to understand, the commander-in-chief to the military is our guy. You know, he's the one. I mean, it's just different when you're talking about the military. So, you know, General Mattis and General Kelly, you know, they took those positions because they were like, hey, they're Republicans and they're ready to, you know, help somebody lead the company or the country to greatness. And they both realized that he doesn't care, and that he was. I mean, General Mattis basically said he's something like he's got the reading capability of an 8-year-old boy or something like that. I mean, it had to be frustrating. And Milley,
well, you know, the revolution that came out as to why Trump threatened the man's life is because General Milley in his book said, look, January 6th, and thank God he didn't resign and he was there during January 6th. He said, I was on the phone, and not just with our allies, he was on the phone with, you know, not our allies, you know, assuring China, don't be stupid. This is not going to be a coup. I run the military. This is not going to be a coup. And that is what really made Donald Trump lose his mind. And that's when the dang post came out where he was threatening his damn life, because Mark Milley let everybody know, no, I was here, you know, pushing him back into the, you know, keeping him from being stupid. And then it hit me, you know, that whole Lafayette Square thing. Milley wasn't there as an endorsement. Milley was there to make sure that Trump couldn't do something really freaking stupid that day.
Yeah,
you know, because he wanted to badly.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I will tell you that. Imagine if Michael Flynn would have been in that position. It could have been absolutely, you know, catastrophic for us in America. And that's what people have to understand. You know, Donald Trump doesn't want a general to advise him. Donald Trump wants a general to say, yes, sir. Who do you need me to squash, sir? Donald Trump wants to use the military to crush the people that he doesn't like. And that's because Donald Trump is a wannabe dictator, and he is a wannabe dictator. Everything about him says dictatorship. And we've got people right now in this country. And what's really sad is that it's the poorest of the poor. I am from Southern West Virginia, and I don't like to talk about people that don't have a lot. But I'm talking about people that live in pure squalor in places that Donald Trump would never even set foot in. Those people, for some odd reason, think that the reason why they're poor is because now they can say, it's them daggone Hispanics taking up all the jobs. And the truth is that there ain't no Hispanics coming to West Virginia. You know, you got a couple that show up and they work in the Mexican restaurant that everybody seems to love so much. But yet, as soon as they walk out of the restaurant, it's send them all back across the border. You know, I mean, that's where we're at. And these people literally are voting. It is. It's a shame. And it's a shame that in 2023, we can't show and convince people that, look, this person here who thinks that they're better than those people because of the color of his skin, he's actually beneath them, you know, and that's exactly, he's beneath them.
I mean, I've got another one here. This was going to make you laugh. I mean, just how stupid this man is. I mean, you're really not going to believe this.
I said, Ben, we're sending billions of dollars to California for forest fires. Their forests are burning down. And I was with a gentleman, a very top person in Austria. He said, sir, we have more flammable trees than you do on your coast. We don't have forest fires. We have land management. They take care of the land. They pick up the dead trees. You know, a tree doesn't burn very easily unless it's dead. Then it gets dry and it burns. The leaves on the ground, they're 5 feet thick over here. They clean the floor. And everybody said, oh, how ridiculous management of a forest. You know, they all said, like, what the hell? But they don't have forest fires in properly run locations. What we have is horrible. And we can actually dampen our forests with water that costs us nothing, that will come pouring down from the north. Wouldn't that be nice? If you had dampened floors, you wouldn't have forest fires. So we'll work on that too.
We'll work on
He
that.
goes on and he goes on there. Dampened floors, man. You know, if we just water the forest, man. I live in a forest, man. I got to tell you, it ain't just the dead trees that burn in a forest fire, my friend. I mean, green, not green. It is the temperatures of a blast furnace. They generate their own wind. This idiot knows nothing about what he's talking about. And then he's talking about, he goes on there on that clip to talk about, we need to water the forests. Water's, it's free. The water's free. What free water? I don't know about you, man. I don't have an aquifer underneath me. My water's not free. I mean, just,
you know, he is a person who absolutely knows nothing because he doesn't read about anything. And I mean, but I mean, if you listen to his speeches now, just like that, the things that he says should be enough for people to go, I'm done. I'm out. I mean, the guy's got no intelligence whatsoever. And he wants to be president again. I mean, Donald Trump everybody knows he wants to be president again so he can set things up to where he never has to hold himself accountable. And that's the key. He's doing this to try to avoid going to prison. You know, people need to understand that all of the people, every person that is testifying against Donald Trump is also a Republican, and that's a fact. You know, I mean, that's where we're at right now. It's just people need to wake up and realize.
And you know, the number of did you know Biden's going to start World War II?
Good Lord. Good Lord. I mean, you know, it's at the point where I want to just say, I'm out. But this guy's still running. I mean, what? I mean, nobody else on the face of the earth facing 91 felony counts would be allowed to be running for anything, you know, other than the hills. Donald Trump, you know, prosecute him, gag order. Every single day he's getting online and he's spewing the, you know, make no mistake about it. You don't want to be in a dark alley with General Milley, because I'm going to tell you, once again, if you look at his uniform, the guy's special forces qualified, he's Ranger qualified, the guy's scuba qualified. I mean, this guy is a legit badass. And, you know, you got people like Donald Trump talking smack, but there are people out there that will literally think, I've got to do this for my good friend Donald Trump. And they may think that they can put their hands on somebody like General Milley. And, you know, it's a shame that he gets away.
Did you read his statement? General Milley's statement on it. He was asked about, are you concerned for your family? Are you concerned for his statement? Could be summed up in one sentence. I got this.
Yeah. We have our security taken care of. Yeah. He's definitely amazing. And like I said, you know, I wish that we could educate enough people in this country. And I think that people are waking up. I think that every day there's people waking up. I think that every day there are people that are realizing that they no longer have their mother, their father, their brother, because they died of COVID, because they believed that COVID was a hoax because Donald Trump told them to. Every day I believe that there are people that are waking up. And I don't think that Donald Trump, and in terms of polling, I mean, you know, if you're a Trump supporter, you're going to take Trump's poll 5 times. You know, polling is, but I still believe that, you know, Donald Trump will not be able to defeat Joe Biden. I know that there's a lot of talk about Gavin Newsom, and I would love to see Gavin Newsom run for the presidency in 2028. You know, but I'll be honest with you. I think that Joe Biden is doing phenomenal. You can sit and scream about his the way he talks, but he had a speech issue. But if you listen to his speeches that he says right now, they run circles around anything that Donald Trump has said in the last 4 years. And that's an absolute fact. This guy can ride a bike. He can run a 5K. He can go over to Europe and convince everybody to join together to support a sovereign nation that was invaded by Russia. He did that. Do you know he's the one who built the infrastructure to vaccinate this country? And oh, by the way, I just went the other day and got my, I was already double vaccinated and triple boosted. And I went the other day and got my brand new COVID vaccine. They come out with a new vaccine. And I went and got mine. Thank you, President Biden. Didn't cost me a penny either.
Yeah, well, we're going to do that this weekend. I wanted to ask you a couple questions about Ukraine. One is Turkey. Turkey, Sweden did an amazing job of helping bring Turkey back into the fold. It was a lot of tension there for a long time with Erdogan, but they've worked out the deal. Okay, and it's such the Bosphorus Straits, just the geography involved with Turkey. Having them on board is everything. But I knew peeling away from Russia, they were going to go through some things. And we've had a terrorist attack today in Ankara at the Ministry of the Interior. I've got the video of it. It's a bit difficult to watch, but folks, you got to know this stuff, man. You've got to see this stuff. Watch this. This is horrible. And at the end of it, I've got a question for you. Suicide vest.
Wow.
I knew, with Parliament going back into session, we had a terrorist attack. The minister of the Interior, Ministry of the Interior. I do not understand, Major. I do not understand, and I'm not disrespecting military police at all when I say this. Why do they hit the guard shacks? Why do they hit the guard shacks? That MOS. We have soldiers to fill that MOS. We can recruit those soldiers. You're not doing tactical damage to any operation when you run a freaking suicide bomber into a guard shack. It's just Bob. It's just Bob checking IDs. That's it. There is no tactical. What the hell, man?
I think that they don't have a lot of ability. They don't know what's beyond that gate. I think that they look at that gate as the number one thing. If you can, take out the front gate, we can do whatever we want. Did anything come in behind them in terms of trying to get in? So yeah, it doesn't make sense. There's no tactical other than sparking fear, other than wanting to make people who are potentially the next guards go, nope, I'm out. But it's not strategic.
Which doesn't happen.
Right.
These guys stand tall. They do. And they do the job. What happened is those guards fell back when they saw him coming.
Yep.
They fell back. He blew himself up. They shot him and then he blew himself up. The other guy, they went and they shot him and took him out. And I don't know, man. I feel for the MPs, man. I really do. Those aren't our guys, of course. But it's the same thing in the Turkish military.
Right.
Those are that's just Bob, man. It's just doing his service. He's not.
Yeah, there's supposed to be more than that, though. You're supposed to have farther out multiple spots. In Iraq, like going on the green zone in Iraq. I mean, you had to go through serpentine with that going, all these barriers. They would halt you. You'd wait here. They would inspect the vehicle. That vehicle would go through, then they'd call you forward. I mean, you went through 3 or 4 different checks before you could even get anywhere near, the inside the green zone. And that's the way it's supposed to be. And I will tell you that outside of this Turkish embassy, that's the way it's about to be from here on out, because they're gonna do this for a while. I will tell you that bringing Turkey to the fold is a good thing. I will tell you that I held a lot of animosity for Turkish leadership for quite some time over the Kurds. I thought that that was something that was the worst thing that we could have ever done. And the fact that, you know, Donald Trump was okay with that was absolutely sickening to me. Understand that the Kurds had been with us since Desert Storm, and we were in an agreement with the Kurds. And understand that in Desert Storm, whenever we pulled our troops out of Iraq and out also to the north, the Kurds were still in the northern part of Iraq, and our troops watched Saddam Hussein with helicopters gas and bomb the Kurds, killed thousands upon thousands of them. And we had basically mended that fence, and evering was
watch
good.
Erdogan do it too.
Yep. And that's the thing is we pull back, and we allow them to go in and slaughter the Kurds again. And that was something that was really, really sad to me, because, you know, if they never support us, if they never believe us again, they have all the right to feel that way.
Major, do you have a few minutes to hang with us? We're running a little bit late today. Okay. Because I really wanted to get your take too on Ukraine. You know, we had this thing with Jamal Bowan yesterday where he did a dumbass maneuver. I've got a screen share of the sign. You know, the Republicans came out and said Jamal Bowan pulled a fire alarm to delay a vote. Turns out that's not true. First, they said it was in the Capitol. That was a lie. It's in the Cannon office building, which is across the street from the Capitol. It's not connected to the Capitol in any way. But anyways, if you could see, I don't know if you can see the sign there, but it says emergency exit only, push until the alarm sounds, door will unlock in 30 seconds. This door is normally unlocked, and I'm not defending Jamal Bowan here. That was a dumbass maneuver that he did, setting that fire alarm off. But the guy was in a panic to get to a vote. He didn't delay a vote. He was trying to get to a vote. He did make it to the vote. He didn't delay the vote. The vote happened. Jamal Bowan voted in it. But he reads the door's normally unlocked. It won't unlock. He's pushing on it. He sees a sign, he runs over, grabs the fire alarm and pulls it, thinking that's what he's supposed to do on unlock the door, which is it's idiocy. But you see somebody in a panic. I've done stupid shit before. I have, you know, when you're not thinking right. And he runs over, votes, and then comes back. The sergeant of arms and the Capitol Police to say, "Hey man, what the hell happened?" And he goes and he tells them that exact story. That's it. That's what happened. Yeah. Well, the Republicans, they didn't see it that way. First of all, they lied and said that it was in the Capitol. When it, you know, you and I have been to DC. A lot of folks have, and I've got a little map here of where the office building is. Oh Lord, do not know why StreamYard is acting up today, but it is acting up today. Anyways. You folks are just going to have to trust me on this, and I can't get that one to pull up. I do not know why, but it is not populating on my list for some reason. There we go. Finally popped up. You know, there it is. You know, you've been to the Capitol. It's a huge open space between the Capitol. You've got the Supreme Court on one side, and then the Cannon House office building is across the street on a whole nother block. The Republicans tried to spread BS in. Oh, he pulled the fire alarm in the Capitol. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. And then they tried to say, oh, he delayed the vote. Well, no, he didn't. The vote went on as normal. The vote, you know, it was all BS. And then we get Marjorie Taylor Greene comes out and says this, and this is where I'm going to tie this around to Ukraine. Just get your thoughts on this one.
Okay, everyone, you are not going to believe what just happened here just a little bit ago. The Democrat rep, Jamal Bowan, is being questioned by Capitol Police to adjourn. I'm standing outside Cannon. Cannon is my office building. This is where I work. And this is exactly what happened. So we're inside in our office watching the floor debate. Catherine Clark, the Democrat whip, calls the motion to adjourn. And then the fire alarm goes off. in our building and they evacuate the entire building. This is while an official proceeding is happening on the House floor. Well, let's talk about what that is. That's violating a law. That is the exact same law that January 6th defendants are being prosecuted by the Department of Justice every single day. They're rotting in jail every single day. And that is exactly what happened. So the Capitol Police are in there questioning Jamal Bowan. I think the Department of Justice needs to prosecute him. If they're going to prosecute January 6th defendants for walking through the Capitol on January 6th, then they need to prosecute Jamal Bowan for doing the exact same thing during a House official proceeding. This is outrageous. Democrats will do anything.
Fake outrage.
They will do anything to make sure that Ukraine is funded. They don't care if the House shuts down. That's exactly what he was trying to do. He's trying to make sure that the House shuts down, that the government shuts down, because they're so angry that all this money isn't going to Ukraine.
Well, yeah, I am a little angry that they're trying to interfere with the funding to Ukraine, because you know what happens, for a couple real quick things. One, in Texas, we say prosecute. I think in West Virginia, you also say prosecute. It's not prosecute anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, and this person's in Congress. Second of all, the reason she thinks this is worse than what the January 6th defendants did, because they just walked through the Capitol, is because Jamal Bowman's black. That's why.
That's what it is.
They can break windows, they can toss offices, destroy offices, they can piss and shit on our Capitol, but it is way worse because Jamal Bowan pulled a fire alarm across the street while black. I guarantee you that is the dog.
Absolutely. They can't stand that. They can't stand that. And that's the thing too, is that, you're going to sit here and you're going to gripe. Do you remember January the 6th? Do you remember, when they stormed our Capitol?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
You remember and you're going to get outraged, because that's the thing. It's fake outrage. Anytime a Democrat does anything whatsoever, it's going to be the worst thing in the world. I mean, let's look at Hunter Biden. Worst thing in the world. You saw the guy from Missouri who was getting his lunch ate by the reporter, where he was talking about, we've got on 2017 Joe Biden doing this, and the guy's like, Joe Biden wasn't even a member of, Congress at that time. They have nothing. And then what little they have, they want to act like it's the worst thing in the world. And it's fake outrage is what it is.
Yeah. Their witness sitting there saying, asked directly, do you have any firsthand, are any evidence to? Nope. Nope.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
Let me tell you, the whole thing too about Ukraine, I know this for a fact. Russia was our number one enemy. Russia was looked at as our number one adversary. And now we have a country of Ukraine that is literally destroying Russia. And I'm talking about, the numbers are absolutely staggering. And I'll tell you real quick. Right now, they're at 278,570 KIAs. Times that by 3, and that's what you get pretty much like the wounded in actions. 8,991 armored personnel carriers. An armored personnel carrier is going to cost about $1.5 million a pop. So very, very expensive. And oh, by the way, there's lives that are lost with these. You have 4,702 tanks. These, you're talking big bucks. And I mean, they're just getting destroyed like they're nothing. We are literally, another country has literally destroyed our number one adversary, and they're still doing it. And if all we have to do is send them funding and ask other countries to assist with firepower so that we don't have to go over there and fight those assholes and we get to survive, then that's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. They're going to say, let me tell you something. We have members in Congress that are literally voting for our adversary, Russia. And if you think Russia is going to be done with Ukraine, they already found out from the beginning. The plan was that Moldova would go next. Then he wants to bring back Yugoslavia, and I'm going to tell you, those people don't want none of that garbage. I traveled through the Balkans last year. And I'll tell you right now, those people, wonderful, beautiful, a lot of history, lot of sorrow. I can assure you that they are far more happier now than they ever were back in the day when they were under the thumb of the, you know, of the Soviet Union. So I think it's sickening to hear them support
That
Russia.
was the next question I was going to, man. I really want your point of view, because you've got Poland, man. They are doing everything they can to make sure that Ukraine is fighting Russia in Ukraine, not Poland. They're doing everything. People like Marjorie Trader Green are not thinking this through. They're not. I mean, they're sucking that Putin taint hard as they can, but they don't understand what's next. They don't understand what happens. And that's what I want to get from you, man. When this spills out of Ukraine, if they defund Ukraine, because Russia will do this for years. Russia doesn't give a damn about its people. They've got a long history of just throwing man meat.
Yep.
You know, that's what Georgy Zhukov, greatest general Russia they ever had, said, we're not going to do that shit anymore. And they crucified him for it. But he was, you know, they'll do this shit for years if Ukraine doesn't just whip their ass in Ukraine. And if we pull the funding back, Russia wins.
Yeah, absolutely.
In time, they win.
Yeah,
and then they're fighting. Then we're fighting in Europe.
Yes, and it will bring Europe into this, and Putin doesn't care. Putin doesn't care about that, and that's what's really, really sad is that, you know, these people, they're sending people to combat that are ill-equipped and not trained. I tell you, I couldn't even begin to imagine watching my child leave to go to war, knowing that my child has not been through extensive combat training to prepare him so that he might be able to make it back. You know, they're not even getting the bodies anymore of these troops. Families aren't going to ever get to bury their children because they don't know. And in many cases, they'll just have to just accept it. Well, we haven't heard from him in the last year, so he must be dead. And that's what's really sad.
Boy, Russian, they love that medieval warfare, man. Leave the dead to rot and cause diseases for them, you know.
But I'm going to tell you this. So be careful, because Poland knows how to fight. And Poland is a lot better equipped than Ukraine was. And there's a lot of other places in Europe that are the same damn way, that they know how to fight. I'm going to tell you right now, Germany, they will throw down with you, and they have skill. Germany has real skills. You know, in Germany, when I was stationed in Germany, we would do these competitions we would build bridges, and we would do these competitions with German units, and they would destroy us. They would destroy us every time, and it wasn't even close. But that guy on that boat has been on that boat for 18 years. The guy on our boat is a brand new E5 that just now transitioned to the boat squad, and now he's on the boat. I mean, that's how Germany is. They're people that are driving their tanks in the military, and they've been there 15 years. They've been doing that same job for 15 years. And make no mistake about it, they know how to do it well. That's a fact.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of people discount Poland because in World War II, Poland they had old technology. It wasn't the fight, man. It wasn't the fight in Poland. Poland has a centuries-long history of producing warriors. And I'm telling you right now, what's going on in Ukraine is you've got Poland that's like a big freaking Rottweiler, and Joe Biden's got a hold of that leash as hard as he can hold, man. Because I promise you, if Poland gets into this war, it will not be after Ukraine is defeated. It will not be. They will fight. They will fight Russia in Ukraine before they fight them in Poland, man. And I'm telling you, this can get out of hand if we don't keep equipping Ukraine and supporting you. And these Republicans, they don't see what's next. Okay, well, if Putin wins.
Yeah, you know, you're spot on right, man. And that's the whole thing where I keep hearing these people screaming about, well, look at all the equipment you left in Iraq and Afghanistan. Look, you do know that equipment was paid for to go to Iraq and Afghanistan and to stay in Iraq and Afghanistan. You know, it wasn't like we had to, and first and foremost, we left Afghanistan on rules that were set in place with Donald Trump, not Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. But, you know, the equipment that we equipped them. And, you know, they were the ones that chose to just basically give up without a fight. I think that if they would have put up a fight, they would have won. You know, they were literally like 50,000 Taliban fighters left, and we trained over 300,000, Afghan forces, and then another 80,000 police, and we gave them vehicles and weapons and radios. We taught them how to use them, and they could use them. They did joint operations with us all the time. We go outside the damn wire, man, and right behind you, you got a guy, that's Afghan, and that's reality. We trained them, and then they just rolled without a fight. And everybody wants to sit and blame. Well, how dare you, Joe Biden, leaving all this equipment? Well, we had a date to leave, and we equipped them with all that equipment. That was given to them, and then of course,
and Biden bought us more time. He bought us more time. The date was actually earlier than we were supposed to leave. And Joe Biden came in and met with the Taliban and said, look, we can't meet your date. Here's your choice. We go back at it, or you back the hell off, and we need more time. And the Taliban said, three more months. Three more months. We'll give you 3 more months.
Yeah. They knew that they couldn't, keep going down this path. But I mean, when it comes to equipment and stuff like that, we always, we gave that to them. Now, did they fall into the hands of the Taliban? Yeah, they did. But they fell into the hands of the Taliban because the people that we trained for 20 years gave up without a fight. I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to see Poland give up with anything. Poland can fight. Poland is well equipped and very well trained. We do a lot of stuff with a lot of countries. I spend a lot of my time at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and we always have other militaries doing things and doing joint exercises with other militaries. And I'm going to tell you, places that know how to fight, and places that don't. And I'm going to tell you right now, Poland is not, that right there is that you do not want to stick a stick in that cage and rattle that shit around, because it will not end well for you.
And the Finns, Norway, Sweden.
Let me tell you something. Finland. I love. There's a great thing for Finland. They have, how like if you're like signing on to some web page, and they'll have like 9 boxes, and it'll say like find the bicycle. You go bicycle, 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 right? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, they have the similar thing like that, and it's for Finland, and it's this big, beautiful, snowy area. And it says find the sniper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's one in each spot. You can't see them because you got to be a special person. These people, they train in bitter cold, and they're used to it. And let me tell you something. You show me somebody who can live in the coldest of the cold without being miserable. I'm going to show you somebody you do not want to cross. You do not.
Yeah, I tell you, go read about Simo Häyhä. I mean, they got the White Death. Go read about Simo Häyhä. Our sniper schools train using tactics that Simo Häyhä used, man. This guy, for I don't know how long, he had the highest kill count of any sniper for the longest time. And a lot of times he was using iron sights, man.
Yeah,
for the longest time.
That was World War II. I don't think that got beat until. But I don't know if Chris Kyle beat him. But yeah.
Yeah, he was a bad man. He really was. He took a shot to the face from an exploding bullet, woke up and said, "Where's my gear? I got to get back to work." He was. They're like, "It's over. It's over."
Yeah,
relax,
those guys are different. Those guys are different.
Yeah. So anyways, I am so glad you could join us. I've got a video here of yours that is just fantastic. It's from Turn Left Pack. If I can, man, can I get you to put in a plug for yourself? I'm going to put Ojeda live. Folks, Richard Ojeda has one of the best shows that you can find on YouTube. It's called Ojeda Live. I'm sorry. I'm from South Texas.
You're right.
We say Ojeda.
You're right.
Yeah. And one of the best shows. Give him a follow. I'm going to put a link down into the comments. Easy to find. Just search OJEDA space live. Great show. Great show. He's also, is this your pack or?
Yes.
This is let me play this ad for you. It's from Turn Left Pack. And then I'm going to get to the last question I have for you before I let you go, my man, if you can hang out.
Cool. Sounds good.
This is a great ad, by the way.
I've seen the true cost of war in Iraq and Afghanistan, but let me tell you about another battle, the fight for our democracy right here at home. I'm retired United States Army Major Richard Ojeda, and together with Turn Left, we'll reclaim our democracy and ensure a brighter future for all Americans. I've sacrificed a lot for this country, and I've been attacked for standing up for what's right, but I refuse to back down. Our nation's capital is under threat, not from a foreign enemy, but from these jackaloons within. It's time to turn left towards justice, equality, and progress.
Great ad, my friend. Great.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
My last question for you. And I'm not going to ask you to announce anything here. I'm not, I don't do that to guests. But I've been in politics for a long time. I have studied politics for a long time. I've studied, like I said, history is my thing, and history is politics and warfare. You know, it just is. I knew of, West Virginia politics better than anybody. And you got a particular senator there that's not too popular these days. And he's earned that, but he wasn't always that way. I mean, you go back 2-3 decades, when Joe Manchin first came around, and you know him better than I do in West Virginia politics. Yeah. But that man has just, Mr. Maserati, Mr. I got my yacht, Mr. Hey, my daughter's making a fortune selling opioids. That's got to be heartbreaking, man. I mean, that's
absolute power corrupts. And I'm going to tell you that Joe Manchin has gotten a taste of the good life, and he decided that that's what he wants for the rest of his life. And Joe Manchin, he doesn't give a shit about coal miners. When coal miners die, he shows up and gets photographs and acts like he cares. He doesn't give a shit. The reason why he was angered at Joe Biden still is, and is still, in the, toss-up of running for president under the no labels, is because Joe Biden did not give him the Secretary of Energy job, which is exactly what he wants, so that he can basically set things up for him and his family. In West Virginia, the people that survive and do the best have the last name Manchin. His daughter and him destroyed a college institution, and everybody who had spent a lot of money trying to get, their degrees from this place lost everything, because Joe Manchin pressured them into giving his daughter a master's degree that she never earned. And that's what she used to get that job, where she basically raised the price of the EpiPen. She made $30 million.
Isn't she no labels? I mean, that's where Ruth's from, right? Is her pocketbook, isn't it?
I know. I don't think. I'm not sure about that. I don't think so.
I think she is one of the major funders of No Labels.
I mean, look. It wouldn't surprise me. Because we're talking about chip off the old block, daughter from her father. I'm going to tell you right now, she's not a good person. Nobody in that family is a good person. And once again, like I say, the only people that benefit from Joe Manchin have the last name Manchin. Joe Manchin is absolutely in it for the money. And, I look back and I think, he's always been that guy. He was always, there was a place in Logan that burnt down years ago. And it was one of those structures that was just nasty. And Joe Manchin come down there and told the people that lived in that area, we're going to take care of this. Make sure you vote for me. I'm going to fix this. And never showed back up again. People know that these guys are all garbage. In West Virginia, just can't seem to get a decent person. And I hate to say it, but politicians in West Virginia realized, hey, let's capitalize on racism. That's all we got to do. And they win.
Little birdie told me that Joe Manchin might have, somebody primarying him. I don't know.
Oh, he does. His name's Zach. And I'm going to tell you now, he's a Marine.
I thought you were running, man.
No. I left. I'm in North Carolina.
Oh, are you? I thought you were still in West. I thought you were still running. Shows how far out of touch I am, brother.
No, man. No, a lot of people feel that way and think that way. But the truth is that I just got to a point where I'm like, you know what? I'm so sick and tired. I busted my butt. I worked so hard. When I retired from the military, I started a nonprofit. We fed over 10,000 people in the community, sent over 6,000 kids to school with new shoes. And I got to the realization, I realized that, these people around here, I could lay a golden egg in their front yard and they'd be mad because I didn't lay two. You know, you get to a point in your life where you're like, you know what, you guys are going to have to probably fall even farther than you are now before you finally wake up and realize. And that's what's sad, you know, with like Donald Trump. Donald Trump, the pathway that Donald Trump is on is catastrophic. And a lot of people that followed Donald Trump are now in jail or in prison right now. You know, and there's a lot of them that have already come out and said, you know, I just fell for this guy. I listened to the garbage that he spewed. You know what? That's what's going to happen to most of these people. They're going to come a point when they're going to finally wake up and realize. And I just hope that it's sooner than later, because you know what? Joe Biden is having a colossal first term. It is amazing. The last day in session before the Republicans took the House of Representatives, he signed into law 45 bills. The CHIPS Act, the PACT Act. I mean, this guy has created jobs unlike any other. He's got the guts to stand on a picket line. You know, this guy, I think, and once again, you can scream, we'll listen to him stutter. Listen to Donald Trump. Read Donald Trump's truths or whatever they're called. And you're like, who the hell is this guy? This guy's a moron. Joe Biden is handling business. And I believe that if we give him the opportunity to have another 4 years, he's reducing the deficit by over $2 trillion this time. And he's going to do it again in the next time. And that's what we need. We need presidents that are going to help us so that we don't, you know, find ourselves owing everybody everything for the rest of our lives. You know, Joe Biden is getting things done, and Gavin Newsom can follow him up.
Well, let me give you a little hope here. Look over in the comments, man. Let me see my ride or die Democrats. You know, man, I saw a split. You know, a lot of people were not happy about Hillary Clinton, and I saw a split, and that's when I started the ride or die Democrats movement. And just, you know, you're going to see the hearts and skulls popping up, man. Those are people that vow, we're Democrats. We're a big tent. I got my guy. I like, and I'm going to fight like hell for that guy. I'm going to fight like hell for him. But when it's over, Richard, your guy wins. I walk into that booth and I pull a lever for a Democrat.
Yeah,
I do. My guy wins. You walk in the booth and you pull a lever for the Democrat, because we just cannot afford to play these games anymore. No. These guys are straight up heading for fascism. They don't want democracy anymore. They see themselves losing and they don't want to do it, man.
What happens?
I'm telling you, brother.
Yeah, what happens when they actually weaponize the Department of Justice? And then the Department of Justice is turned on you, the people. Because make no mistake about it, that's the path that it goes with Donald Trump. You know, Donald Trump wants to weaponize the Department of Justice. He wants to weaponize anybody who stands up against him. This is a man who has been caught on camera talking about, well, why can't we get the military just to shoot him in the leg? Because he's not smart enough to know that the weapons that we carry in our military, if I shoot you in the friggin' leg, it is going to hobble you for life. You're probably going to lose your leg. It may bounce up the bone structure and actually kill you and rip apart other organs. It does horrible things, but he doesn't care, because he's a dictator and he wants to make sure that you know, that he stays in power no matter what, no matter if it costs people their lives.
And Richard, what's the first thing a fascist does when they take power?
Well,
they take the guns, man.
And I'll tell you right now, don't think for 1 second, if Donald Trump didn't think that was going to be the next round, that he would do that. He absolutely would do that. Absolutely. And once again, you know, I mean, look, I own guns, but I'm going to tell you right now, man, I don't think that an adult should have access to the weapons that we carried at war. I own guns. I don't have no M16, no AR-15, no M4, no SCAR. I don't have anything like that. Now, would I like to have something like that? Yeah, but you know what though? It doesn't mean it. And I don't like it more than I like having money for other stuff like traveling. You know, it doesn't mean anything to me.
I got to tell you, I hunt. My weapon of choice when I hunt, I've got a great deer rifle. I got a Seiko 308, Finnish made Seiko 308. Brother, groupings. I mean, I've got a 12 power Leopold scope on it. I'm telling you, I can drive nails with this rifle. But where I hunt, there are feral hogs, man. There's like you run into packs and peccaries, javelinas, you can run into 40, 50, 60 hogs, and my fat ass cannot climb a tree. And even if I can climb a tree, they're all mesquite trees and they're only about 12 feet tall. You know what I mean? So I used to, when I'd hunt, I would carry an AK. I like AKs. I think they're real reliable.
AK-47s
I
are
don't
awesome.
clean them for shit. I would carry an AK on one shoulder and I would carry my Seiko on another, in case I ran into hogs. Never damn fired a thing. But you know what I'm willing to say? We are not responsible enough as society for that. I am more than willing to give up my AK. I am. Because people just say the stupidest things. Oh, I'm going to fight my government and I'm going to, just in case government gets tyrannical. Well, you know what? If the government gets tyrannical, you're going to shut the hell up and do what they say. Quit pretending you're going to be, MEAL Team 6 and the Gravy SEALs are going to come save us, because it isn't. Yeah. What's going to happen is you're going to shoot your wife, you're going to shoot your kid, or your kid's going to find your weapon and kill themselves, or your kid's going to shoot up a damn school. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you right now, in terms of, hunting wild pig, absolutely, I'd want anything to be able to kill them so I don't have to climb up no tree. But an AK-47 is actually, it's not like the weapons that we use. AK-47 is usually 7.62, and that will go in your shoulder and out the back, no problem. The bullets
about that long.
Yeah, the bullets that we use will bounce off the bone structure. You can shoot somebody in the shoulder and it'll come out their hip, and it will do. You shoot somebody with the M14, not M14, but M4 rifle. I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna cripple them. They're never going to be the same ever again.
Entry hole, exit hole.
Exit hole. Yeah.
Yeah. Major, it was so great to have you here, man. I hope we can talk again. I'd love to come on your show. You're always welcome here. You got an open invite anytime, brother. Anything you got going on, man. Want to promote it? Come here. We've got one of the best audiences you could ever meet with. These folks are super. I don't know if you've been following the chat, but everything we've talked about, they're filling in the points. If we miss something, yeah.
Yeah, look, everybody, I go live every night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's on YouTube and on Facebook, and it's Ojeda Live. And I would love to have more people that are part of this. We all have a role to play. Nobody just gets to sit back. We all have to participate. We have to vote. We have to find candidates that we believe in enough that we can support financially. You got to be able to make phone calls. You got to be able to knock on doors. You got to make sure that on election day, you're dragging everybody that you know to the daggone polls to vote, because that is going to be important. We talk about the most important election. This right now is standing up to be the most important election. If we lose it, we will lose our democracy. That's not just BS. If we lose the election to a Donald Trump, it's over with. This man will make sure he never loses power ever again. And it will be handed down to his kids, because that's what dictators do. And I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't spend 24 years in the military, a lot of it away from my wife and my kids, so that I could watch this country become nothing more than a dictatorship, because that's not going to happen.
Amen, brother. Thank you for being here, Richard. I'm just going to wrap this up, and I'm glad you could be here, my friend.
Well, brother,
anytime, you're always welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thank you to all the audience. Y'all have a great day, everyone.
All right, folks, I just got a little bit more for you. Hang in with me. I got a little bit more. I see some people bailing out. Don't bail out just yet. I want you to leave with a smile and some good thoughts here. First of all, it is a birthday today. We have a very big birthday today. Here's the birthday wishes from Barack Obama to one of our country's best presidents, Jimmy Carter, turns 99 today. Happy birthday, Mr. Carter. Happy birthday, President Carter. Today is also Defender Day in Ukraine. And I have a great video for you. The Ukrainian military has the best, between the cats and the videos they put out, they are really on top of it. This is Defender Day in Ukraine, and God bless these guys. God bless these guys. I have to say, the Ukrainian military is just, they are on top of it, man. When they are talking about winning hearts and minds, that is, yeah, exactly. Best way you can put it right there. One word. Lightfoot SP says solid. Amen, brother. Amen. Yeah, I appreciate you folks being here. Last message for you. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Please, by all means, please, ladies, get screened. Pretty please, get screened.
Each day, more than 700 women across the nation are diagnosed with breast cancer. But this number represents more than a statistic. It represents 700 realities shifted, 700 lives altered, 700 stories rewritten. You know her. She's your mother,
Okay.
your daughter,
Woohoo! She's done.
your coworker, your friend. And she's more than her diagnosis. At National Breast Cancer Foundation, we do more than raise awareness. We meet patients' needs. We fill gaps in care. We support women when they need it most. But we don't do it alone. We're more than an organization. With your support, we're a community. Join us as we raise more than awareness, as we advocate for each other, as we ensure no one faces breast cancer alone. This October, join us as we raise hope and help women now.
Ladies, we love you. We need you. You make the world go round. Pretty please. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Get checked. Get scanned. Make sure you're up on all your tests. We really need you. We really need you. And with that, folks, we are out of time. I do apologize. We didn't get a roundtable. We'll do a longer roundtable next show. But as always, it is wonderful to spend the time with you. I hope you enjoyed Major Ojeda. I'm going to put a link down on the description to get you to Ojeda Live. He does a great show. He does a great show. You see, straightforward, just tells it the way it is, owns the warts and all the good stuff too. So, check him out. I love you folks. This is Old Texas Paul out. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Enjoy these beautiful Texas cities.